Nu är vi klar. Vi är live streaming to YouTube. Happy World Nyckelharpa Day. We have now reached the bit where we are in Gotland. Yay! So Anders and Sofia and Olov, I think you have a presentation for us.
Yeah, welcome. We are three here on Gotland. My name is Anders. And
I'm Sofia. Well, hello and welcome.
we are impressed of the World Nyckelharpa project and invite you to learn a bit about historical instrument on Gotland. And now we'll show you.
Anders here, he has prepared a little film that can show you where we are, because I don't think everyone in the whole world knows where Gotland is. And this is the Earth. I hope you can see it. So Gotland is an island that belongs to Sweden, and it is in the middle of the Baltic Sea.
And now you may be in Japan or other place in Asia, but you can also be in Europe somewhere, and you can be in Australia, or I don't know where you are, but here is Sweden, and to Sweden is an island. We are coming closer to that island. That island's name is Gotland, and it belongs to Sweden. It has been belonging to Denmark quite a long time ago. And you see now there's a town called Visby, and we are going out in the countryside, and then the middle of the island, the middle of the earth, there is a church, which name is, you'll see it soon, I hope.
The name is Källunge.
You see, it's a countryside with farmers all around it, and this is the church here, and there is a very interesting history about that, and we'll tell you about that. Now?
Yes.
Okay.
Now you know where we are. And we have some pictures of this church. I think it's a very beautiful church. It is built somewhere around 1100. And then they wanted to build a bigger church and a more fancy church. So they kept on building on this church until about 1350. And in the years right after 1350, they put some ornaments on the church. And one of those ornaments is a little stone musician, and he's playing the nyckelharpa. And we're going to show you these pictures soon. My name is Sofia Violina Juliusdotter Lilja. I'm called Sofia from my grandmother and Violina from my father's violin, because he was a fiddler. So I grew up with traditional Swedish folk music since early childhood. And now I think we have the movie here. And I've always been interested in the older Swedish folk music instruments, not only the nyckelharpa. But I moved, so I'm neighbor with this church since 20 years ago. So I live very, very close to this church. I go there almost every day and say good morning to the little nyckelharpa player who is from 1350 or 60 or 70. He's very, very old. But since he's made of stone, he doesn't age. So here's the church. Now you can see it. Källunge kyrka. We're approaching when we see the tower. That's the oldest part. It's from about 1100. And on the very top of the tower, which you can't see now, there's actually a part that is from 900 and something. Now we approach the doorway where we have all these little scenes from everyday life in the 1300s. Above the door, you can see the knights, and further down, you can see the ordinary people. I don't know if you can see the knights. They're really small, but they're making some kind of war, and then there is a dragon, and at the very top, there is some kind of a monster. He's even above the king. There's the monster. That's my kid's favorite, this monster. But my favorite is the nyckelharpa player. Here you can see some people making bricks out of clay and offering wine, or maybe the husband wants wine and the wife says no, I don't know. And then there are some really nice flowers. All of these are made around 1350. I don't know what that lady is doing with the animal on her lap, but I know that gamblers, they are rolling the dice, but today you gamble online, I think. There is some farmers working, and here at the right in the picture, you see the nyckelharpa player. Isn't he cute? And he has a friend, and the friend's instrument is kind of cut in half from the centuries of wind and storm and icy weather. So we don't know if that's a nyckelharpa or some kind of a fiddle. And on the other corner, you may see a goat. I think it's a goat. 2 goats and a dog and a hunting horn, or maybe a herding horn. But I also like to play the cow's horn and the wooden horn. So I like that picture too. But here they are, 2 friends playing with both, maybe a fiddle or maybe 2 nyckelharpa. The left one is definitely a nyckelharpa. And we measured them so you can see how small they are. And even though they are very small, they are really, really detailed. You can see the fingers and you can see the bow. And they are outdoors in the stormy wind and weather in the winter. So it's really amazing that they lasted so long. So I think it's a really beautiful door also. It's very old and with kind of blacksmith artistry on it. There's a close-up. Does anyone have any question about this nyckelharpa?
How do you pronounce the name of the church again?
Källunge.
Källunge.
Mm. And if I'm going to say it in dialect, it's Källunge. So you see, it's rather small. It's just 10 centimeters. Now, this is another story altogether. So I'm going to just let my friend Olov talk about this, because he has been measuring this nyckelharpa and built a kind of a replica.
It's a proposal of how it could have been looking like when it was built in limestone on this Källunge church. I think his name of the sculpture is Karis Master, who also decorated other churches on Gotland and also on the other side, the Baltic Sea, because Gotland was in the center of a very lively, culturally developing countries, people. And of course, I have always been interested in the early music, because to know about the people, to meet them through their love to music and the sound, I think one can meet them somehow by approaching the music and culture in earlier times. Also, this is the medieval time. So I've made some efforts to, it's just proposal, and everybody is welcome to find their own interpretation of this Karis Master. In fact, it has the elements of an ordinary nyckelharpa, and it's as far as I have heard that just these reliefs were made in 1380, which is the earliest known of an image of this nyckelharpa in the world, but what one now till now. Anyway, there are also other images in Denmark, in Reykjavik Church. There is a painting from 15th century, which is very similar, showing the same kind of instrument. What else could we tell about this, do you think?
Yes, I'm going to ask you some things about it, and I want to show you it in the camera here, the one you have among your neck.
This is one of about four proposals. And one doesn't know how it looks like inside, because the interesting with this place, which is unique, is to see this nyckelharpa together with a person who seemed to play one of the forefathers or foremothers of violin. That is a medieval fiddle with 3 strings. You could see it on the picture a bit earlier. And I'm interested to know, why did they use a nyckelharpa together with a fiddle? Maybe the fiddle was playing the melody and nyckelharpa more harmonics or rhythm accompaniment. We don't know. I don't know what else to say.
And this is another one that you made 10 or 15 years ago.
Yes.
And here you can see the strings and the nycklarna, the keys.
As you can see, there are different. For example, this has much more of keys, and the one I'm holding now is much less. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And because one cannot know, so one has to test. But I would like to mention there is one nyckelharpa in central Sweden, in Mora, who has an original nyckelharpa from the 16th century, which has a similar shape of the body, and also with this sound hole shaped like a heart. And it's also 3 strings, and by that, nyckelharpa has 1 melody, strings, and 2 bordons. So it's just for my own amusement and curiosity. I'm just to try to find out a little more every day. One can learn not much, but at least something one can learn from this.
And you built a box here, and there's a lock.
Yeah. Yes.
And if you
A cover, yes.
a cover, yes. Because you saw that on the one on Källunge church.
Well, it is just sort of guessing, as most of it here. But I can understand if you have nyckelharpa without a cover, things can fall out from the key system, and that can be problematic because it's not so easy to make that mechanism. So it's a way to protect them, but it's just a guess. But it is now, I think, a modern fact.
And when you look at the one on the church, you see sound holes on it.
Yes,
and
yes, exactly.
you're also made on this one.
Yeah.
Are there hearts on the church?
It's not so exact. At least they are on the same place and the same size. But the limestone is not so exact with the shaping in. So one cannot be sure, because also time and dirty air who has come from England to Scandinavia is not healthy for the limestone. So by time one cannot be sure, but as it can be seen both in Mora, the 16th century original, and also on the painting in the Rinkaby church, there is a 15th century nyckelharpa painted, which also have the sound holes the same shape, exactly the same shape. So it's just most probable that it was the same shape here, but it could be something quite different.
You can see the bridge here, and is it of the same place as the one on the church?
Roughly, yes.
You can see it also there.
Yes.
And also the string holder.
Yes, yes.
That's your imagination that you when you shaped it, when you constructed it.
But of course, one cannot see anything of a string holder on the limestone relief. So one has to do something. At least there are many ways to make string holders.
This is another picture of the old,
you can see the hearts there.
yes, of old nyckelharpas.
Yeah.
And this is from
Rinkaby in Denmark.
And how old is this?
15th century. 15th century.
So it's about 100 years younger.
Yes, exactly. Can say so.
And
interesting to see the color. That's a shadow color. It have a kind of vanish, which is brownish.
can you show too, if you open your box, you can show how you can change the tone?
Oh, that is like, well, I lift this up. Well, I really would say that it is roughly the same principles like most nyckelharpa. For here, it's just the diatonic shapes. But one can adjust.
I can hold it.
Adjust it on some place if you want to change one note, the flat, for example, just by turning a little. One can make small adjustments on some keys, but it's nothing. There could have been quite another construction. Where
we can't really know about that because on the stone original, the lid is closed, so we don't know anything.
But the other sculpture, which is just beside, there one can see clearly the 3 strings. It has 3 strings like this one, but no keys. So that's why it seems to be a fiddle player and a nyckelharpa player together. And I think that is the most interesting with this relief, in fact. And it's not to be seen anywhere else. And you see the bar too, but which is that's not maybe not so interesting. Oh, what happens here?
That's a close-up, but it's really bad.
Very close.
Picture. Yeah.
And
I think one of the things I find most interesting with these little stone spelmen is that they are on a church playing music and looking very happy about it.
yes,
Yes. So they're not so serious. Sometimes I meet people that think that if you're going to play music in a church today, you have to be very serious and not very happy. So I think that 1350 people were playing nyckelharpa and being happy when they went to church.
I could also suggest that to point out there is a third person who is sitting on a kind of wooden chair which is dug out from timber, this big piece, and it seems to me as he is kind of chief. And I think the musicians also have a hope to make him a nice person, for helping them and not to press them down.
Well, I have a total different interpretation. I think it's a woman and she's singing with them.
Could be,
Yeah.
yes. We can ask the people, what do you think? What is the third person doing, in fact? Is it possible to show that on the third person? What is he doing? Is it kind of a chief, a woman or a man, or is it something else?
What is this?
The book.
Can you use it and we can listen to the strings, the sound? We should change.
Maybe some founder, because the music is from Sweden. We don't know so much about it, or the music from that time. All the things at the same time. So the melody string is here. This was just improvisation. We can also have rhythm with this kind of arrangement. And the fiddle player besides do something together. I would have liked to find out if one can find a kind of early medieval dance music and which is performed in that way instead of having a lute or something. Because yes, that's a lot of things one can do if one is curious about it.
I think you're a good constructor, but you're also an artist.
But no, I think we should respect the people who made it for us, and to tell that we can meet them almost alive. I would say you don't need to go look for the galaxies and look for the origin of people. We have them all also in our cultural hate and in our forgotten memory. So it feels so much that we can help the people from that time, as if they were among us. That's my experience working with music, and also about what they wanted to express at that time in the 14th or 13th century. Is what they get from around in the world. They take it in. That means if you listen to the music, one can also get an idea of what they felt, what their life was, the condition of life. And that I think is much more interesting than in the ordinary school books.
Well, this was not an ordinary school book. I hope you at least found it a little bit interesting to see us here in Källunge.
Yes.
And see some pictures of our old medieval church in Källunge, with the oldest nyckelharpa in the world.
Yes.
Is it anyone who would like to ask us something?
Next time.
And then I would like to say goodbye with a simple Swedish song.
Yeah,
Maybe
please.
the shortest song I know. It's about love. Kärlekens sång, den lättade min gång och vägen förkortades av fåglarnas sång. Kärlekens sång, lättade min gång och vägen förkortades av fåglarnas sång. Goodbye.
Goodbye.